Who are the Kuki? The Kukis constitute one of several hill tribes within India, Bangladesh, and Burma, now known as Myanmar. The Kukis are an ethnic group including multiple tribes originally inhabiting the northeastern states of India such as Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Meghalaya, Tripura and Assam, parts of Burma, now Myanmar, and Sylhet district and Chittagong hill tracts of Bangladesh. While Kuki is not a term coined by the ethnic group itself, the tribes associated with it came to be generically called Kuki under colonial rule. While the Kuki tribes are treated to be the Aboriginal who settled in the hilly regions of Manipur, they bear close resemblance with the physical features of Mongoloids and carry the linguistic traditions of Tibeto-Burman traditions. These tribes since ancient times played a major role during the British rule. The Kuki tribes are distinctively marked for their chieftain culture, which represents a major social trend of the community. Thus, origin of Kuki tribes establishes the tribal group as one of the most powerful group of Manipur which largely settled in the hilly regions of the state. History of Kuki. The early history of the Kukis is obscure. The origin of the word, Kuki, is uncertain. It is an exonym. It was not originally as a self-designation by the tribes that are now called Kukis. According to the colonial British writer Adam Scott Reed, the earliest reference to the word Kuki can be dated to 1777 CE, when it first appeared in British records. History of Kuki tribes originally begins with mythological stories which existed in the area. Origin of Kuki tribes is steeped in myths and legends of the country. As the Kuki tribes are one of the oldest settlers of the region, it carries number of stories which are sometimes historically proved, while sometimes exist with the folklores of the area. This story describes the method on how the tribe was formed by the original chiefs through a long process of struggle. The tribal culture which grew slowly and steadily within the hilly mountains of Manipur got disrupted with the advent of the British rule in India. The history of Kuki tribes is well established within the customs of the land. Origin of Kuki tribes in Manipur can be traced back to 500 BC when for the first time they settled in the hilly regions of Manipur and other hilly regions of northeastern states of India. Since then the Kuki tribes are considered to be one of the earliest tribal communities living in India. History of Kuki tribes in modern India can be largely traced in the hilly regions of Manipur. Kuki tribes also played a significant role during the British colonial rule. During the British period, the Kuki chiefs were able to establish themselves on the vast hilly regions of northeast. Under the leadership of Thadou chiefs, the tribe could establish itself as the supreme tribal power of the area. The hills of Manipur were under the control of these tribes till they were subjugated and controlled by the British in the 18th and 19th century after the Anglo-Kuki War that took place between 1917 and 1919. The most important effect of this war was the permanent subjugation of the Kuki tribes. Since 1919, the British established their control over the hilly regions of Manipur, which helped them to establish direct administration in the region. The British slowly and gradually brought modernization that penetrated in the primitive tribes of Kuki tribes. In Manipur, the various Kuki tribes, living mainly in the hills, currently make up 30% of the total 28.5 lakh population of the state. While Churachandpur is their main stronghold, they also have a sizable population in Chandel, Kangpopi, Tengnopal and Senapati districts. Manipur has undergone severe communal tension that arose between the Meiteis and the Kukis, the two largest communities in Manipur. The Kukis have been incessantly called as refugees and foreigners by a section of the Meiteis. These vested interest groups are calling the Kukis as refugees with a delusion that it may help them establish the right to encroach into tribal lands and hence occupy lands which were never theirs. These groups are fighting tooth and nail in order to legitimize illegal occupation of lands while undermining the glorious past of the Kukis and the tribal autonomy and land rights enshrined in the Constitution of India. In fact, Over time, the Kukis have faced this malignant discrimination of being termed as refugees and foreigners in their own ancestral land, which has come to an intolerable point. Kukis of Manipur have an irrefutable originality to the land that they today settle in that is corroborated by their intimate connection to the land. The Kukis today identify themselves with their land and consider it to be an integral part of themselves that is extensively demonstrated in their traditional way of life. In fact, it is for this reason, to defend their ancestral land and freedom, that the Kukis stood against the mighty British imperial power in the Anglo-Kuki War 1917 to 1919.